Hey everyone, welcome to another match of Temur Hooting Delver. Today we're playing Green, White, Death and Taxes. Our opening hand is clearly Mulligan, no lands. Um, our first Mulligan is passable. We'll remove one Lightning Bolt, but it's not the greatest. Obviously we're going to be going with the Hooting Mandrels plan for now. I think I prematurely fetched here, but that's okay. I'm just so used to slamming Delver on turn 1, I think I was just going through some muscle memory. This is good. So we're going to be able to remove Noble Hierarch on our second turn, which is great. Slow down our opponent's mana acceleration. Opt showed Misty Rainforest. Normally I would cycle away a land if we already have two in our hand, but we want to fill up our graveyard relatively quickly to get Hooting Mandrels out. Lucky for us, we drew Delver, so turn 2 Delver is not that bad. Better late than never. Still trying to figure out what our opponent is playing. Now, technically, the archetype is Green, White, Death, and Taxes, although we have yet to see any cards that are typical in the Death and Taxes deck. Scavenging Ooze. So our Delver flips, that's great, especially in game 1, our Delver has a very high chance of flipping. We'll swing in for 3, and yeah, in theory here we could cast Hooting Mandrels, and the best plan with the Scavenging Ooze is to, cast your Hooting Mandrels as soon as possible before it starts eating away at your graveyard. So that's what we're going to do. Let's just take away potential targets. We're still able to cast our counterspell on our opponent's turn, so that works. Here we're waiting to see. So he gets his third land drop. Not really concerned about him using it, although he could in theory turn us off from red mana. Now the question here is, do we want to allow Aether Vial to resolve? I'm not really interested in seeing Aether Vial resolve right now. I don't want to see our opponent start accelerating in creatures. We want to kind of end this as soon as possible. So I think that is the correct move here. Worst case, if we do get Path to Exiled, I mean, we do have two creatures. They'd have to target one of them. So this is interesting. Sunbeam Spellbomb. I was almost certain that our opponent would be using it to gain 5 life, but I guess that's kind of weak in Modern. Drawing a card is their main, is the main mode that it's used for. Scavenging Ooze is going to eat Noble Hierarch. We are going to bolt it from now before it gets out of hand. So they're going to draw a card. And I'm going to play another one. That's fine. So this is a creature we rarely see in Modern. 3/3 flyer for 2, but you can only cast it on the third on your third turn. Sorry, on your fourth turn, I believe. Sarah Avenger. We're still gonna go in with our Hooting Mandrels. I mean, I attack there knowing that they're most likely going to block with their Sarah Avenger, but that's fine. It's a trade-off that we can make because we're ahead on creatures anyway. Another Scavenging Ooze is annoying because now he's going to start eating away at creatures, and this is always concerning. Luckily, he doesn't have too many green sources, and now we have another Hooting Mandrels, which would almost guarantee the game here. Unblocked, our opponent feels confident. We are going to slam down our second Hooting Mandrels. We're going to get rid of everything in our graveyard. this is probably game. Now, in theory, our opponent could sacrifice Sunbeam, Spell Bomb, and gain 5 life, but I feel like that's just delaying the inevitable. So he's going to get a 4/4 Scavenging Ooze. At this point, I'd be willing to trade on our next swing and bring him down to 1. Looks like he's flooding a bit as well. But that works in our favor. Really gotta love Hooting Mandrills here. We actually were able to fight through 2 Scavenging Ooze. That's great. We drew another land, which blows, but it is what it is. So our opponent will have to trade here, and I'm okay with that. There's no point in playing this safe or something. It would seem kind of silly. Our opponent's going to try and dig for an answer. See if he gets one. It would have to be a pretty good answer. I suppose the Path to Exile would kind of reset the board. So he needs to find an answer now. Looks like he's going to try and thin out his deck a bit. Luckily we have 3 basics in the deck, so we usually don't fall behind in land when Field of Ruin is used against us. Dauntless Bodyguard. Probably a little too late in the game here. For the sake of being safe, I mean, okay, well, I mean that pretty much guarantees a win either way. But we're gonna go through the motions because you never know what happens. I think our opponent knows that they're gonna lose. At least I hope so. I hope they know that Hooting Mandrills has trample. So I thought about Blood Moon, but I don't think it's gonna have the impact that I would want. There are plenty of other cards I want to bring in, like Huntmaster, Engineer Explosives, our Artifact Removal, because it looks like Aether Vial is a thing in this deck. So I'd be more interested in removal and less interested in land disruption in this case. I think that will work out relatively well for us. So the opening hand is meh. I'm gonna keep it because, you know, we're going second, which means we're gonna draw a card, which, you know, is significant. And we do technically have 2 cycling cards in hand, you know, to allow us to dig for more cards if necessary. So far so good. Yeah, that's fine. We're gonna get pinged. What I really want to cast this game is a Huntmaster of the Fells. I love that card. I really do. So I think this is correct. I don't think we need to hold on to Aven for long just because we want to use it as a combat trick. We do have 2 of them, so I think we're fine. Kind of thinking what I want to get here. I think Stomping Ground is correct. We have a 2/3 Tarmogoyf. And let's see what happens. Yep. There we go. Yep, I feel like our opponent's playing like 8 of these. Okay, so we draw a forest. That works. Play our Sim Visions first. Let's see what we're going to be getting. It's also going to grow our Tarmogoyf. Yeah, Traverse isn't really necessary here. I don't mind keeping a removal card on top. I think that works just fine. Now what I could have done here is I could have bolted the creature and made Tarmogoyf 6/7, I believe, if my math is correct. But I didn't. That's a line of play I missed. Probably because I wanted to kind of keep my removal for creatures that are a bit more dangerous. That being said, that is a line of play I could have used that I did not in this game. Yeah. And now this is the crappy part, because we have Hex Drinker, who's going to be defended by Giver of Runes. We're just going to get rid of Giver of Runes now, so we don't have to deal with it later. It probably means that Hex Drinker is going to get out of hand, but I mean, it's just what it is. I mean, either way, even if we removed Giver of Runes before, they were still going to cast Hex Drinker, and we would not have had removal in hand, so it is what it is. And I was definitely wrong. It would have been a 6/7 timer worth. It would have been a 5/6. I forgot that we had Aven in our graveyard. So we have a 5/6. I strongly doubt our opponent is going to chump block here. And now I'm going to cast Huntmaster of the Fells. Now, Huntmaster of the Fells is really awesome, okay? I still think it's a underplayed card in this archetype nowadays. It's just great. When it resolves, so long as it dodges removal for even one flip, in my opinion, it's already given a tremendous amount of value. It gives you 2 bodies for 4 plus 2 life, and when it flips, it becomes a 4/4 Trampler, deals 2 damage to an opponent and another creature they control. And then it's relatively easy for you to control how often Huntmaster flips. For example, right now, I mean, I'm in no rush to cast anything. The trick here is, how do I want to attack in? We could give our Tarmogoyf flying, and I think that would probably be a good line of attack here. In which case, they'll have to give up their Sarah Avenger. So I think that's what I'm probably going to do. But we'll see. Don't quite remember what I did here. Our opponent's probably thinking really hard. I don't think I gave it flying. Yeah, because I figured it would be a waste at this stage. They're definitely not going to block with Hex Drinker because they don't want to lose it. So probably the right move. Now here we have Huntmaster of the Fells that flips. It'll deal 2 damage to Hex Drinker, which will almost guarantee they won't attack in, but they're going to level up to max anyway, so he's going to be have protection from everything. Although at this point we don't really care. We have enough life to kind of give us padding. Even if he was to swing in and we weren't able to do anything about it. And we have a lot of power on the board, so really not concerned here. Yeah, level him up as much as you want. He's not going to attack in. You know, that's a guarantee. So our opponent casts their second Sarah Avenger. It's fine. Too bad they didn't cast 2 spells there. That would have made it a bit easier for us. But that's okay. We could probably find a way to cast 2 spells this turn. Yep. So we definitely will. Which will make Huntmaster flip again. Which is, again, exactly what we want to do. So the question is, in what order do we do things? We don't need to rush in our removal right now. We don't need our opponent to know that we have 2 damage that we can ping a creature with. I'm not going to attack in with Huntmaster of the Fells because at this point it's a much larger target than Tarmogoyf is. Plus, Hex Drinker has protection from everything, so it's just going to be chump blocked. So we are gonna give our Tarmogoyf flying. Um, this way our opponent is forced to block with Sarah Avenger. We draw a Tarmogoyf, which is interesting, but I don't think we're going to cast him. We want to preserve at least one blue mana to be able to counter removal or some other non-creature spell with Stubborn Anal, so it would make more sense to cast Hooting Mandrills and Goblin Cratemaker. So yeah, I was trying to find a way to do this without making my Tarmogoyf shrink, but there's no way. But it's okay because, you know, we still have Huntmaster, and Hooting Mandrills is gonna keep Stubborn Anal's Ferocious active, so we're good. Yeah, of course, I make a mistake on the Xmage interface here, so I have to do that again. You can tell I'm annoyed. I just click everything at this point. Done. So there's our Hooting Mandrills. Goblin Cratemaker's next. You know, and our opponent really doesn't have much to stand on here. Probably is a bit damning for Hexdrinker. I mean, it's great for it to be able to swing in, but if it has, if it's swinging in against a full board of creatures, do you really want to tap it? So Huntmaster flips, we gain 2 life, we get a token, and our opponent does a quick. Yeah, there we go. Of course, it's game, because there's basically nothing our opponent can do. I'd be shocked if he was able to find any card that would change this game, because we just had too much power on the board. So we made pretty quick work of our opponent. I feel like in both games we were always ahead. We stayed ahead, even in the mulligan in the first game. We kept the pressure on. We countered spells we didn't want to see on the field, like Aether Vial. Actually, not too much countering going on. I think we just had one counter in both games, but we had enough anyway. We had enough permission anyway if the removal was, you know, to show up. Unfortunately, in the end, our opponent tried a whole lot of nothing, and yeah, like I said, we made quick work of him. I'm happy that I was able to play Huntmaster. It's always a pleasure to play Huntmaster. I feel like it's a severely underrated card, especially in this archetype. You know, most of the times when it's on the field, you just have to deal with it. If you don't deal with it, you know, decks are usually built to be able to play around with Huntmaster's flip abilities. So, you know, it's a dangerous thing. You know, it's not just there to necessarily attack in with a 4/4 Trampler, which is definitely a bonus. I mean, we run already 4 with Hooting Mandrills. It's really there for the ability to start pinging creatures, pinging our opponent, gaining us life, and getting us tokens, you know, to chump block with, or, you know, take out our opponent. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. It was a quick match. I've got more. I love this deck. I'm working on recording more matches that are interesting, at least a little bit. Thanks a lot.